Classic Burning Crusade has been running now for over 8 months, and yesterday night, probably one of the most famous raids in the history of World of Warcraft has been released one more time. Black Temple, of course. Along with that, also released Mount Hyjal, on the other end of the spectrum, regarded as one of the worst raids in WoW. And without much surprise, both those raids were cleared very shortly after they got released, just over 2 hours from their launch actually. To achieve that, players had to resort to some insane tactics to not only clear those raids in as little time as possible, but also to compete with each other for which guild will claim Classic TBC's Tier 6 world first. So today, we're gonna see exactly how players in 2022 managed to clear Black Temple in just over 2 hours, when originally in 2007, it took players over 20 days to do so. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, one thing worth noting is that Burning Crusade's Tier 6 raid tier, that being Black Temple and Mount Hyjal, is very particular. Nowadays in modern World of Warcraft, and even throughout Classic, we only ever get one raid per patch. In TBC, it's quite different. Each patch introduced 2 or even 3 raids. So that raises the question, how do you determine who gets world first? The consensus seems to be, if you manage to clear both raids in their entirety first, you got world first tier 6. So with that in mind, which guild managed to do that? That credit goes to the guild Progress on Firemaw EU, who managed to deal the final blow to both Archimonde and Illidan in 2 hours and 4 minutes. A bit of history about Progress. This guild has actually been achieving world first since Classic. All the way from Blackwing Lair up until now, Progress grabbed every world first in Classic WoW and Classic TBC, but every time they barely achieved that, sometimes down to seconds. And that's the nature of the world first race in Classic. So for tier 6, it is worth noting that some guilds did decide to only kill the first boss of Hyjal, which is the only boss you need to kill to be able to zone into Black Temple, then cleared Black Temple directly from there. But even though Progress decided to do it the more legit but longer way by clearing both raids to their entirety, they were only beaten by the guild Turbulence, who managed to kill Illidan just 1 minute before Progress, even though they decided to go directly to Black Temple after only doing the first boss of Hyjal. This goes to show how dominant Progress really is. Even though they did both raids in their entirety, they were only beaten by one guild who decided to go to Illidan directly, and only by 1 minute. And this goes to show how exciting the race to world first is in Classic. It's very different from Retail's race to world first in the sense that it generally only gets cleared in a couple hours. But those couple hours are filled with excitement, because you know whoever wipes at any point, it's over for them. So it's a question of who goes the fastest while staying as safe as possible. And Progress did some insane things to achieve that we're gonna talk about now. So, first off, Mount Hyjal. Progress, just like many other guilds, basically used all the tricks in the books to make the raid go as fast as it possibly can go. The thing with Hyjal is that there's no way to really speedrun it. You kill a wave of trash, then the next wave spawns, then the next one, etc. until you clear all the raid. So basically, if you want to go as fast as possible, you have to camp the spawn point of the trash, and that's very dangerous on its own. This means no mana or health regen allowed between the pulls. If people die, they can only get combat rest, and if you wipe at any point, it's pretty much over. Progress did a perfect Hyjal run from start to finish. In fact, many guilds in the world did the same. So now, it was a question of who manages to clear Black Temple as fast as possible. And Black Temple was pure insanity. Pulling entire packs of mobs away and running through them, ignoring them, invisibility skips, rocket boots, pulling bosses and trash together, Progress's Black Temple run was flawless. The only hiccup they had is at some point they attempted to do what's called a raid reset, where you have everyone disconnect and someone outside the raid resets it, and that's supposed to teleport everyone to the entrance of the raid. This didn't work for them, and their theory on why this didn't work is that they probably had a GM in the raid watching them. So their raid reset didn't work because the GM was still inside the instance. Other than that, their run was perfect, and that's how they managed to clear both Hyjal and Black Temple in 2 hours and 4 minutes. So that's what happened yesterday, but let's go back in time, 15 years in the past actually, in June 2007, 6 months after Burning Crusade had released and 22 days after the release of Black Temple. Why did it take Neilum, the original World First Guild, 22 days to defeat Illidan? Just like with many things in Classic, it comes down to 15 years of experience with the game. In January 2007, when Burning Crusade released, players were still playing on CRT monitors and using dial-up internet connections to play the game. Gaming was still in its infancy, and no one really had access to in-depth guides on Wowhead and YouTube to teach them how to play the game. This could be a reason on its own, but there's more to it than that. Nowadays, before any patch gets released, players across the world test all of its content intensively on the public test realms made by Blizzard so that the patches release smoothly and bug-free. Obviously, every top guild in the world created tens of characters on the PTR servers and ran Black Temple and Hyjal every day the PTR was up. When Burning Crusade released originally in 2007, it did so in a less than optimal state, to say the least. Pretty much every raid had some kind of bug. Mechtheridon saw many fixes and nerfs, Vash too, Kael'thas as well, and that's just to mention those. And the thing is, Burning Crusade basically requires you to clear every previous raid to access the higher tier raids, thanks to attunements. Attunements are still present now in Classic TBC, but because Blizzard decided to stagger raid releases, players had more than enough time to get attuned to SSC and Tempest Keep. Then, when those were released, we had more than enough time to get attuned to Black Temple and Mount Hyjal, not to mention the content not being bugged anymore, and Blizzard removing attunement requirements in the middle of patches, just like they will do for Black Temple very soon probably. So yeah, with all those things taken into consideration, plus many other small factors, like the fact that there was way less competition back in the day, it's easy to see why it took Neilum 22 days to kill Illidan, but it only took Progress 2 hours to do so. Here's one interesting fact: Neilum only killed Archimonde 4 days after that, on June 9th. So actually, Tier 6 was only cleared 26 days after its release originally. So yeah, now what's there left to do in Classic Burning Crusade exactly? Well, the game still has 2 more raids left to release. Well, more like 1.5 raids actually. Zulaman, which is a 10-man catch-up raid, probably will not have any competition or race to World First, but who knows, maybe. And of course, Sunwell, which is personally my favorite raid of all times. Sunwell was extremely challenging back in the day. Many guilds till this day regard Muru and Kil'jaeden as 2 of the hardest bosses to ever be added in WoW. But will it be hard 15 years later? Not a single chance. But I think Sunwell will still offer quite a challenge even for modern players. And unlike the previous tiers, tier 6.5, the Sunwell tier, only has this raid and this raid only in it, unlike all the previous tiers we had up until now in Classic TBC. So that should account for a very interesting race. So, if you're watching this and you've been wondering since the start whether you should give Classic TBC a shot, or maybe even get back into it, the answer is definitely yes. It still has a lot in store for us, and this is still Classic, so any previous content is still relevant. People are running Karazhan and Gruul even nowadays, because there's still good loot to get from those previous raids. And we actually made a video on whether it's too late to start the game, which you should definitely check out. As for me, I'm yet to set foot in Black Temple. I'm what you call a filthy casual in this game, but I will definitely give it a shot very soon with my guild, and I'm super excited about that. Illidan is among my all-time favorite bosses in the game, and I'm excited to finally face him on the live servers and hopefully get some of the incredible loot he has to offer. But how was your experience so far? Have you set foot in Black Temple yet? Or are you like me, just casually farming the Netherwing reputation for now? I'm also curious to know if some of you started playing Classic TBC when it first released and whether you're still playing it now. If you haven't, are you thinking of coming back maybe? Let me know in the comments, I'm super curious about that. With that, if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the Classic WoW Curios channel for more content like this. I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.